Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And today we're going to take a look at another Zentangle original tangle called Changing. Now, this is an interesting tangle in that, well, first off, it is a ribbon tangle, or I call it a line or a border tangle. So it's one that's kind of done, in a line. And this one actually is done sort of a couple different ways. So when we go through the CZT training, we get what's called a Zenthology. So it has all of the original Zentangles up to that point. And so in my Zenthology, it is shown one way, and then on a blog post from Zentangle, it was kind of done a different way. So I'm going to share with you both of them because they're both neat. While it's pretty much the same process, it is rather interesting. So let's see. Let me start off with the way that it's done in my Zenthology. So the way it's done there, and let's see, and I'll split this tile up into two. All right. So starting with a curved, like a pair of curved lines at the top of whatever you're doing. So kind of like that. And then a second set of curved lines. So we're going to like alternate. So these are, two curved lines going this direction. And now I'm going to do them going the opposite direction. But, you know what? Let me do the first one first. And the first one is going to kind of go over these two lines. And I might have to, make up a little bit. I think I went a little too far, but that's okay. And then, easily just fix that. All right. Then the second one, I'm very tempted to have it come from here so it's hollow bowed, but I know you know what, let me just do that because I feel the need. All right, so the second one is going to come around this way, and I'm going to essentially hollow bow this one. I'm hollow bowing and oraing at the same time. All right. Now, so we're just alternating. So this next line is going to come basically from here. So I'm going to take this line, I'm continuing it over here. I'm crossing where I already have come, right? And then I'm taking the second line and doing the same, coming back to this side. And what I have found also is, so I'm taking the lower line here and bringing it around, because then I can meet these two lines and then not have to feel like I'm fudging anything. All right? And then this one coming around, and meeting about like there. And there's no harm in, just coming back and meeting those up. And then we just continue this, as we go. So, and then again, like I said, I'm doing the inner line first, so that way I can try to have it cut across these lines right here. All right, I'm getting better at this one as I go. So this is kind of how this one, and then you take it as long as you want, and it kind of does grow sometimes a little bit bigger. This one, I'm surprised, hasn't really, and well, you'll see in the step outs. I'm going to put both step outs on, and so we'll continue this one right off the page here. And you know what is so interesting? This is really funny. So I have a video called Celtic, and I had done it around St. Patrick's Day time, and I'm just like going, you know what? If I put it this way, that's exactly that tangle. And this was a heck of a lot easier. Interesting. And this, I added this because the way they had it in my Zenthology, it was, coming out from the top and then just coming out from the middle. And this is, my step out will show it that way also, but I just decided, you know what? If you can make it continuous, then make it continuous. And using the hollow bow technique, then we do that. And it's really cool. All right. So that is the one way. Oh, and then, then at the end, you would fill in all of these sections. And then, of course, for those that have been watching my videos or coming to my classes and things, you know that this is the time, if you need to make a course correction, you can. Meaning, you know, for here, it's like, well, if things went a little bit south, you can just kind of neaten up your lines this way. And it's nice. All right. And I can finish that up later. You get the idea. Right? And you see how nice that looks. You know, well, it does help if you know, color the stuff in nicely. But you get the idea, right? Now, the other way is starting kind of with a point. So I'm going to, it's again, similar idea, but we're starting both sides, starting at one point. So it's kind of making a V, sort of, okay? Then, again, same idea, but I'm taking one line, I'm coming across here, I'm coming from the same point and coming out a little further. Now, what I found with doing it this way, and to try to match what they had in, you know, on the blog post, to not go too far past, you know, the line that you're crossing. And even here, if you want to make it a little bit tighter, just watch. And I just have this habit of, you know, whoa, and I'm just out of control. And, you know, just going a little bit too far. All right. And so then same idea, we're flipping sides. This one, I'll say I'm not sure where to, you know, maybe I'll do that from here too. All right. So same idea. And this one, I'm working hard to make these more separate. But then also not to go too far past. And now this one, so we're not utilizing the hollow bow technique really at all. Although, from when I was looking on the blog, it seems like on the lower line here, or the inside line, we were doing the same thing. So coming from that point, like so, and like so. So it's almost like creating a ribbon. And I was tempted. I almost went up there. And let's see. Yep. And then here again. And the other challenge that I have found with this one, which, you know what's so funny is I went back and I looked at the step outs, as you know, and the things that I was playing with this tangle, and I had one of those who did this moments. like wow, that's really amazing looking. It couldn't have been what I did. And so it was funny. So I was like, oh, okay, well, you know what? Sometimes we get real, we're looking at these things so intensely that sometimes it's hard to see that we actually did a fantastic job. All right, let me really quick, let's just do some filling in here. I switched to the graphic one because there is some shading that you can do with this also, but it's also nice to have these filled in while we do it. You know, and I also like to share ones that I'm having a challenge with because, just because, you know, we're all human, and just because I went through that training doesn't mean that I do all of these tangles perfectly. And I do joke about being the non-artist because I don't necessarily consider myself an artist in a lot of respects. I am creative. I'm a musician, but there are some qualities of, you know, being an artist, just doing things spontaneously that I just don't do. And you know, and I'm not necessarily trained in it. I can do Zentangle really well though. I follow instructions pretty good. So, all right. Let me touch a couple things up here. Now, for shading. It's really simple. In this way of doing it. And actually, you know what? One thing that they put, as I'm just looking back at my my step outs, you can aura the whole thing. Actually, I'll do that with this one so you can see what it looks like. That's what they did in the Zenthology. So what I'm doing here, though, for shading, sorry to be bouncing around like that, is I'm just putting a little line of graphite on the ins and outs. So along the straight lines. And then I'm going to take the tortillon, and this is a floppy tortillon, and I'm just smudging it out just a smidge. Smudging it a smidge, that's funny. And actually I have quite a bit left on here from other things, so I could have probably gotten away. Well, let's just see, because I'll do the same thing over here. Oh, look at how much I have left on there. Sometimes it's nice, especially if you're doing something small, to just get rid of some of that excess graphite, because then, yeah, sometimes I notice that it's like, oh, that's a bit darker than I was expecting, and that's why. Look at, I can almost get this whole thing done. Well, almost. And that, you know, into, well, this tortillon is getting to be a little bit floppy, as I mentioned. And floppy means sloppy. All right, I'm just going to pull it out a little bit. There we go. You just have to work hard not to, you know, we don't want to go over this line. We want to, you know, bring it down. And let me do this one up here again. And a little bit more there. Yeah, so that's super neat. So let me just show you real quick, because like I mentioned in my Zenthology, they had this one aura'd. And the aura is such a neat tool, because it kind of it can finish off a tangle. It's like if you're doing a tangle and you feel like it needs something and you just don't know what. Maybe think about, wow, that one, I should have moved my hand. Think about giving it an aura or two. Just depends. It adds a neat touch. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, thumbs up are much appreciated. And if you're not already subscribed, and you like the video enough to see more, I'd be happy if you subscribe. And in the description box, I will have the links to these step outs. Actually, I'll also put the link to the Zentangle blog that I got the second one from. And there's a variation, or a tangulation, we'll call it, on this changing called punzel. And I think it comes from this one. I hadn't taken a look at it, but I'm going to, and that might be my next video. I'm not sure. It'll be in the next few. And I think that is on the same blog post that I'm going to share. So, all right, with that, I wish you very happy tangling.